What do high achievers know about reaching goals and building success that you may not know yet? And what are some things that you can do simply that can help you learn the steps that high achievers use to reach their success and happiness? You probably know some people in your lives who just seem to be high achievers. And you may wonder, what is it about them? What is it that they have that helps them achieve so much? I'm going to simplify it for you today. I'm going to talk about 5 steps of reaching goals, and then, and this is even more important, I'm going to talk about 5 traits and characteristics and habits that high achievers have that teach them to really pave the way on a polished pathway to keep reaching goal after goal after goal. And the good news is that you can do that and be like that too. I'm going to teach you all of those steps. Again, 5 steps to reach goals and 5 characteristics and traits of and habits of the high achievers. I'm calling it the 5+5 plan. So, you know that people often talk about goals, and the big thing they make about goals is identifying goals. And people frequently say, well, I have a goal, I've had a goal, why am I not reaching it? So, again, clarifying that goal, picking a specific goal, making it specific so you know what you really want, so you can build a pathway to really get there. That is the first step of reaching a goal. It's identifying a goal specifically. And you've probably heard of SMART goals. They are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic and relevant, and time framed. All of those are really important to help you understand what your goal is, what you want, and help you build a pathway to get there. So you want to identify your goal. Second, you want to create steps to help you get there. Just like any destination you have from your starting point, like if you're in a GPS, you have the steps along the way. And I love to help people create steps because that's often a blocking point that people have. They know where they want to go, they know where they're starting, and they just don't think out what are the steps along the way. So that is the second phase. The third, and this is really important also, people often think, well, I know what I want to do, I know the things that I have to do. And often we sit back and people go into what I call, or what's frequently called the activity trap, or what I call the busyness of life. They get so consumed by general things they have to do that they never really get to the steps. So the third part of goal reaching is to implement the steps, not not just identify what the steps are that you have to do, but when are you going to do these steps and put them on your calendar to make sure you do them. And the fourth, and I found this is really important, a a tough obstacle for people is often that when people have a goal, but you hold on to your old identity, it's hard to move forward when you identify yourself as somebody at your old stage. So, for example, if you want to find a new relationship and you want to go out to some parties or events, but you think of yourself as very shy, very reserved, you don't have good conversational skills with people. And that's your self talk, that's your self identity. When you get out to these parties, you may not feel free to open up to meet people and get to know people and get them to know you as well. So it's important to think about your identity. What is your self talk? How do you identify yourself with regard to a particular goal and to start moving forward in your identity. So, for the relationship example, you might think to yourself, well, I'm going to become more comfortable in social um, situations so that I can go up and talk to somebody. And if somebody comes to me, I'm going to feel comfortable to talk about myself. And again, you can even say, I am starting to feel more comfortable. I am becoming more comfortable. I have a greater comfort zone to do these new things. Again, it's really hard for us to bridge out of our comfort zones, but when we want to reach goals and have success in new areas and achievements and accomplishments, it's really important that our identity moves forward with us. I can do this. I'm comfortable doing this. If you want to get a new job, and part of the job requires you to handle some math, some numbers, and you think to yourself, well, I like this job, but I'm not good at math. That is not going to help you have the confidence to move forward and to have momentum and motivation and excitement. What you need to do is think about what are those math skills that you'll need, maybe do a little practice so that you feel, you know what, I didn't used to be comfortable doing this, but now I'm gaining comfort. My comfort zone is expanding. I'm feeling more comfortable doing this. I can do this. Again, your comfort zone can either be a blocking point, an obstacle, or it can open the pathway for you to move forward. So, that step that we spoke about is your identity and your comfort zone. And finally, in reaching goals, you want to take the time to review where you're at. Sometimes you have to correct course and revise your steps and plans and return to moving forward. Reset your journey from where you are at to where you want to be. These steps are all really important with regard to reaching goals. So those are 5. Identify your goals, SMART goals, make them specific. 2, identify the steps on your journey of how you can get there. 3rd is implement the steps. 4th is make sure your identity is moving forward to support you in becoming the person you want to be, doing the things that you want to be doing. And 5th, you want to have time to review where you're at, revise if you need to revise your steps, and then get back on track and move forward again. Those are really helpful steps. Now, I want to go over some habits and characteristics and traits of high achievers, and these are so important also. If you can master the 5 steps of goal reaching that I spoke about, and these 5 characteristics that you want to have, you are on your way to becoming a high achiever. So the first step is consistency. Always remember you're working on your goals. It's a lifestyle, not a burden. High achievers are excited about doing new things. They don't get nervous or intimidated or overwhelmed. And they feel confident that I know I'm not doing it yet, but I have confidence that I'll be able to get to do it. Second is they're not afraid to take small steps along the way. A lot of typical people will pick a big goal and pick big steps and feel overwhelmed and wonder, well, why am I not getting there? Again, the secret is to add small steps over time that you're comfortable with. And that journey of small steps makes big, big jumps for you. So don't be afraid to take small steps. And third, high achievers look at failure differently than the typical person. Failure at reaching something doesn't upset high achievers because they look at it as a learning experience. that helps them correct course, that teaches them how to move forward so that the next time they can succeed. They don't look at failure as upsetting, as overwhelming, as a permanent block. If they don't reach something, they look at it as a learning experience, as a teaching experience, as a strategy to correct course. And they don't expect to be perfect every time. They don't expect that everything will work out perfectly. They are resilient when something doesn't happen, when there are challenges. They're resilient and patient and pick up and move forward. Fourth, high achievers don't achieve things in isolation. Most high achievers will give you a list of their mentors, their advisors, their guides, their leaders who've helped them along the way. Because it's hard to, each time you want to accomplish something, to recreate the wheel, to create the wheel, to invent what you want to do. And most things have already been done. If you want to do something that somebody's already accomplished, and if you can get some guidance from them, that in most cases is going to make it much easier. So find out your guides, your experts, your leaders. I help many people reach lots of things, and there are many experts and mentors and guides around. Who do you know? Who can you reach out to help you with your goals? And fifth, skills are really important. So, time management skills are important so you don't get stuck in the busyness of typical days and get stuck on what's often referred to as the activity trap, where you're busy doing typical daytime things and you don't have time to do the special things that will help you move forward. And by using time management hacks, your time becomes more available to do the things that are important to you to move forward. And you waste less time on everyday issues. Second, high achievers are really knowledgeable about their personal productivity and what helps them become more productive, what are triggers that get in the way. They've mastered personal productivity so they can go from goal to goal to goal, from activity to activity. They also have honed and fine tuned their focus skills. So they're not multitasking and stressing over how am I going to get this done? What am I up to here? How do I do this? They stay on track, they have a goal, they have steps, they keep going. And we spoke a little bit about this. High achievers have strong resilience skills that help give them clarity and help them stay on track when they want to reach important steps in life. So those are really important, to have skills and habits and traits of a high achiever. One of the ones that I think is most important is how people look at failure. And high achievers don't require themselves. People think, well, they're perfect, they reach everything all the time. And that's not the case. High achievers are human and don't always reach, but when they don't reach something, they don't get discouraged and fret and lose time or track. They look at failure as a point where they can learn what they do need to do, how they can correct course, how they can get the pathway to success for what they want. So, again, anyone can learn these skills. Anyone can put these together. All you need to do is master those 5 steps for goal reaching, and there's a lot of ways to practice them, and learn the 5 habits, traits, and characteristics of high achievers. And you too can become a high achiever and go from goal success to goal success to goal success, just like the high achievers do. If you'd like to talk more about this, I do have a Success Builders program and a High Achievers Club, and I am happy to share information about that with you. I am happy to give you some suggestions and strategies if that helps, or a more formal program if you'd like. I am going to put my calendar in the chat of our group, and if there is still an appointment there when you go to look and you can grab an appointment, I would be delighted to speak to you on a free call and talk about what's holding you back, what you can do to move forward to reach goals, to plan for success and happiness in your life, and to take on the habits and characteristics and skills of high achievers so that you can think in your life, in your personal life, in your work life, in your health, in your finances, in relationships, in all areas of your life. How can you go from typical where you are to high achiever, reaching goal after goal after goal, being consistent and confident, knowing that you can stay on track moving forward to create your best, happiest, most successful life. Let's talk more about this and how you can reach and reach your best life. Let's talk soon.